Our next speaker is a data journalist with 20 years of experience in the South African media as a journalist, a copy editor and a designer. Please help me welcome the CEO of The Outlier, Laura Grant.
Hello, everyone. The word hack and hacker is kind of a theme going through this, I think, because the company that we founded was called Media Hack Collective. The Outlier is our publication. So I am here to talk about a day in the life of a data journalist. So I think what we need to first ask is, what do journalists do in the first place? Really, we give people information, and the point of doing this is that we need to help people make sense of the world. And we do it so that people can make better and more informed decisions. Thank you, did I move it? And we want to entertain and delight people. So we're doing this to help people. So how do we do that? We collect information, we verify it, we organize it into written stories, videos, audio stories like podcasts, things you find on YouTube and social media. We are all over the place. The things that we specialize in are data visualizations and graphics. And then at the end of that, as a journalist, you will publish your work. It can be in a newspaper, it can be on SABC, it can be on Al Jazeera, it can be all over the place. The work of journalists is everywhere. So where does data come in? What is a data journalist, you ask? Well, data is just information in a structured format. So we're taking information and we're giving it structure, and we use it as a source in our stories. So other sources that journalists use, you'll see us interviewing people on the scene. You'll see us talking to experts and subjects. You'll see us going through piles and piles and piles of official documents, and you'll see us using data. So we interview data sets. What does a data story look like? So these are some of the end products that we've done. We looked at all the reports that the Department of Education put out at the end of 2021 to find out how many of the matrics in 2021 actually did maths. And it's 40%. That's less than half of matrics did 40%. And then we looked at schools that just didn't have any matrics writing maths at all. And we found 390 schools with no matric maths writers. And this little bar chart on the side here is just showing which provinces, how many schools in each of the provinces didn't have children writing maths, and whether or not it increased or decreased since 2020, since 2013. So that is one of our stories. Another one, which I really like doing, this is a piece that we did about the floods in KwaZulu-Natal in 2021. 2022. So what you'll see on the right, the map, that is a whole lot of satellite data that was collected that shows where the shoreline is over 20 years, between 2000 and 2022. And we mapped it. So the blue lines are from 2020, and the red lines, which you can see are moving further and further in, are up to 2022. So we use satellite data and map it. We also collected a whole lot of flood information and created an interactive timeline. So all of these things that we do with data add to the words that people normally write. Then we did something about netball. This is just a different type of thing. The Netball World Cup has just happened. We worked out, a lot of girls in school play netball, but we thought, okay, how tall is the average South African netball player? And how does that compare to the average South African man or woman? And the average South African netball player was taller. The tallest was over 2 meters, but she wasn't South African, she was from Sri Lanka. So we'll do short things like this and put them out on Instagram. This is something that we've automated. We take all the load shedding information that's released by Eskom every day. We put it into a data set, and this automatically updates, and it'll tell you how many hours of load shedding there's been. And it'll also, on a calendar, tell you what was the worst stage of load shedding reached on a day. So we do this with data that Eskom puts out on Twitter. So what makes a good data journalist? What are we like? And why do we even get into this? We have a deep interest in the world. We are very interested in current affairs and what makes people's lives better and what matters to people. We're also extremely nosy. We were those kids that went, why does that happen? And what happens if you do this? Like, we've just translated it now into our jobs. We're asking people questions to find out what's going on. The other thing you really need is excellent problem-solving skills. You have to start with a good question, then you have to work out what information do I need to answer this question. Then you have to find that information, and sometimes it's not that easy to find. And then the last thing is you need to organize your information in such a way that it'll give you insight, which is why structured data is extremely useful. The other thing is you have to have the ability to tell a good story. So that means you need to know how to structure a narrative. You need to be able to tell things to people in such a way that they care. You don't just give them facts. You tell them things that they go, oh, that happened to me, or I know, my aunt told me that thing happened. So that's the art of telling a good story. And the last thing is you need to understand statistics, which is why it's sad that people don't do maths at school more. The reason why we use statistics is because they help us to interview data sets. So we'll get a whole lot of numbers in a spreadsheet, and we'll ask it, so which is the biggest, or which is the smallest? Is this normal? What's the average? Is this an outlier? Outliers are a great source of stories. Or how does this thing affect another thing? We can ask data sets the who, what, when, and where questions that we ask people if it's a well-structured, good data set. And lastly, you need technology skills. It starts off with spreadsheets. Structured data, the entry point level is maybe just an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet. And you need coding skills so that you can work with data. So we're talking not the cybersecurity level coding skills, but Python, R, SQL, and JavaScript are very, very useful. And the last thing, design tools for data visualizations. These change all the time, and it's always useful to keep up with them. And then be a learner for life. Journalism has changed radically over the last 10 years. Data journalism changes even faster. Just take, for example, a year ago, AI. Generative AI didn't even exist. Now we have to keep up with it to find stories. It helps us code. It's very useful. So always learn, keep up to date with new skills, new technologies, and your job will remain exciting. And yeah, that's me. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Grant. Now, we had a question somewhere over there, right? I think he was a little bit shy to ask previously, but you're speaking about the same subject. So, can we please have a mic over there? Don't be shy, man. Show me. Show me how to.
Oh, shame.
Please stand up. There's a mic coming to you right now. Please give him a round of applause to encourage him. I know how daunting it could be. Hi, my name is...
Hi, my name is Tebo Ho, and I'm from Sakubusha. The question I was about to ask is that, so if ke batla ho ba a hacker,
Yes. I'll
which
translate.
subject should I do? Which career should I follow?
So he's asking if he wants to be a hacker, which subjects does he need to take now to enter that industry?
Okay, so we're journalists. So it's really, really useful to have a degree. It's actually, people get into this field with all sorts of degrees. So I would say that anything that teaches you coding skills and problem-solving skills and basic maths like statistics will stand you in good stead. A lot of people will get into journalism with no math skills. There's not that many jobs for people like that. If you want to be a data journalist, there is jobs because there's a shortage of skills. So if I were you, I would just try and find a way in, understand statistics, do something, even if it's at college, not even university. Do something so you understand statistics, and then just read a lot. Read a lot of journalism, a lot of books, have a good general knowledge, and I think you'll probably be okay. If you want something badly enough, you'll usually be able to get it if you put the work in.
Okay, so maybe because we're getting into what your life is like in this profession, what work did you have to put in? What subjects did you take in high school? What degree did you go into? How was that journey for you as well? Did you change courses at any point?
I've changed courses a lot. So, at school, I did the usual maths and science, and then I went to university and did a psychology degree and a journalism and psychology. But then I did honors in psychology. So I learned social science research methods, and that is a lot of what underpins data journalism. So I had no intention of really being a journalist. I fell into that because it was exciting.
Well, that's really cool to hear how somehow you're in this field. Journalism has come along from psychology, and somehow tech has found its way into that mix. And that's really what we're highlighting here at Sasol TechnoX. It's not only science alone. It's an amalgamation and a combination of all of these things. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. It was so insightful.
Thank you for having me.
Can we please give her another round of applause? And just have it to the next speaker. Tyler, who is our next speaker?